Welcome to another edition of EV Rider. Today we've got the brand new Hummer EV SUV Edition 1, believed to be the very first one delivered here in North Florida. By the way, we're out at Jacksonville Beach today, and Delina here is the owner. Delina, I know you're a Hummer gal. Tell me about why you decided this versus any other EV or SUV you could have gotten.
Well, I had an old edition H3 and I absolutely loved it. On my old H3, the only luxury it had was automatic windows. I mean, it literally didn't have any of the technology that this one does. So as soon as I found out that they were coming out with a Hummer SUV again, I immediately got on the list. As soon as it launched on 4-3-2-1, I jumped online and I put my reservation down. I was not in the market for an EV in general, but when the Hummer came out and I saw the truck, it intrigued me. So I started immediately researching to see what the design would look like for the SUV. And I saw a couple prototypes and I thought, yeah, that's pretty cool. I think I'm gonna have one of those.
So now that you own an EV and you weren't even considering one, what do you think in general of the technology as compared to gas?
Well, the fact that I don't have to worry about pulling into a gas station is great. And I can charge it from home. So I don't have to worry about finding an EV charger somewhere when I'm out on the road. I don't travel a lot road trip wise. So I think an EV is perfect for me.
The SUV's wheelbase shrunk by 8.9 inches as compared to its big brother pickup, but there's still obviously plenty of room. The Hummer EV SUV weighs more than 8,600 pounds, making it one of the heaviest EVs out there, but it's still more than 1,000 pounds lighter than the Hummer pickup. The EPA estimates this Hummer SUV EV is good for about 314 miles per charge in combined city and highway driving. Now, in real-world highway driving at 75 miles per hour, car and driver said it got 250 miles out of a full charge in its highway test. When it's finally time to fill up the Hummer, GM says it has a peak charging speed of 300 kilowatts, while at home in the garage, you can charge it at an AC rate of up to 19.2 kilowatts. So Delina has allowed me to take the wheel of the Hummer, and the very first thing I can tell you out of the gate is what a smooth ride. So Delina, tell me about the driving. You know, I mean, how's it handle in your estimation?
It's very responsive. For as big as it is extremely responsive, and it rides like you're driving on a cloud. I can't tell you how surprised I was with that, because I figured it would be stiff suspension, it would be a truck, but it really is a luxury SUV.
Now, you obviously decided you were all in on a Hummer, but I mean, did you also in any way consider, say, the Cybertruck or a Rivian or a Ford F-150 Lightning, anything else in the EV SUV spectrum strike your fancy?
I did. I thought about the Cybertruck, and it's just a little bit too futuristic for me.
Yeah.
And the Rivian, they build a quality product, but overall, I'm a Hummer girl. I loved my last Hummer, and I just wanted to stay true to that brand.
Did you think GM would ever bring the Hummer back?
I did not. That's why I hung on to that old Hummer for so long. And like I said, I took it to a couple repair places, just couldn't get somebody to fix it right, and finally had to part ways with it, and it broke my heart. I literally cried when I drove off the lot.
Well, and now that you've got a new Hummer, talk to me about some of the Easter eggs, some of the things that you thought GM really got right with this vehicle.
The design, for starters. I mean, the interior is just gorgeous. It's got all the little appropriations that tie into the Hummer theme. It's got the maps on the speakers and in the back. I think they did a fantastic job with the infotainment system. Everything is easy. They're toggle switches. The design from an exterior perspective is stunning. I mean, I'll drive by and people will stop what they're doing to stare at the vehicle. Probably because they haven't seen one before, but it just is really a unique body style, and it's wide. I didn't expect it to be this wide. Even though my old Hummer was an H3, This feels a lot bigger than that. And I think it is, because I parked next to an old H2 one day, and this was not that much smaller. So I was really surprised at the size, though. Yeah.
Well, and you know, one thing I'm absolutely thrilled to see GMC do is bring back T-tops. Now, of course, they don't call them T-tops anymore. They call it a sky roof. And one of the things that I think is really cool is that in addition to taking out the panels, now GM even lets you take out the center bar.
Correct. Yeah, so you'll get that full experience.
And it all neatly stores in the front trunk. And for those of us that had Camaros and Trans Ams back in the day, it really is a very similar system. It just drops into slots and secures, and you've got latches right up here, so they go in and come out very quickly.
Correct.
Now, my old Trans Am with its T-tops, in addition to having the covers you could drop them in, it had little shades that snapped into these, or no?
No,
Okay.
no, this is what you got.
Gotcha.
So there's a light tint on it so that the sun doesn't completely beat you up. But yeah.
Is there anything you would say to General Motors that you wish they might have done a little bit differently, or if they were coming out with a mid-cycle refresh you'd like to see change?
The stereo. Oh. I am not happy with the stereo system, believe it or not. I'm happy with everything else with this vehicle, but I don't care for the stereo. The speakers just don't sound great, even though they're Bose.
The Hummer EV also doesn't have HD radio, which is a startling omission in a high-end vehicle. For example, this mini EV we parked next to the Hummer does have HD radio, meaning Hummer owners are missing out on a half dozen or more channels, depending on what city they live in. So, talk to me about some of the neat little features, like, I don't know, anything from cubby holes for storage to just things that you've noticed.
So it does have a huge storage area under here, which under the console, which is great because when you think about it, if you don't have anything like any sort of a drivetrain or anything going through there, it's wasted space. So that's great to put for us ladies to put our purses underneath there. It's got a huge storage area here. I love the fact that it's got a phone charger right here. So you just you have to set your phone there and it automatically charges.
Wireless charging, and I assume wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay?
Yep. It's got plenty of features as far as apps. There you go.
This is one big vehicle.
Right? It stands right up once you get on it.
All right, so we're jumping on Butler Boulevard here in Jacksonville Beach, heading back toward the city. One thing that I've seen some automotive reviewers ding this for is road noise. I don't think it's bad. I'm doing 65 right now, and yes, I will say I can hear the tires a little bit. But I guess I'm thinking of other big SUV vehicles like, say, a Jeep Wrangler or a Ford Bronco. And compared to anything like that, I'm over 70 now, and I don't see any concern. I don't hear any wind whistle from the sky roof. What are your general thoughts? How's the noise level in your estimation?
I think it's great. You know, we've got a Wrangler too, and that thing is so loud. So the noise doesn't bother me. And I'm kind of one of those people that if it does, I'm just going to turn up the radio anyway. So the difference between what you just did, getting onto the freeway, pulling over, you felt the front end come up a little bit.
I did, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, so that to me is interesting. I didn't expect that the first time that I drove it and I really got on it. So that takes a little bit of getting used to because you really got to make sure that you're in tune with what the vehicle is doing. When you turn the watts to freedom on, it actually lowers the vehicle. Mm-hmm. There is a comfort button that you can raise it up a couple inches, and then there's the extract mode, which will raise it up to 6 inches. So if you're off-roading somewhere and you need that extra clearance underneath, you can raise it up 6 inches.
And what do you think of the handling? How have you found it to be in the corners? You know, for a vehicle this large, do you feel it's sloppy? Do you feel it's pretty tight? What do you think?
I feel like you really have to be in tune with the vehicle. If you got on it and you weren't half paying attention, it might get away from you. An inexperienced driver, a teen driver, absolutely. I would be a little bit nervous putting somebody like that behind this wheel.
Well, one of the things that this vehicle really is going to surprise a lot of people with is its tight turning radius. We talked a little bit about that, but go ahead and talk to me about some real life examples where you're a little bit surprised about how tight this is given how big it is.
So I was going to dinner in Neptune Beach a couple weeks ago. I was able to maneuver this thing with just turning the wheel into a west-facing parking lot or parking spot, and people stopped and were watching because they're like, there's this huge vehicle that just literally maneuvered without having to back up and go forward and back up and go forward. So that was it was really pleasantly surprised that I was able to do that.
Now here's the real question though, have you tried to parallel park with it yet?
No, it does have the parking option that it'll parallel park for you.
Okay.
But I feel like I'm quite skilled at parallel parking, so I don't think I'd have a problem with it. And it does have the ability to identify a parking spot and pull into that parking spot as well.
Outside of the Hummer, do you have a favorite EV that you admire?
You know, there's some great products out there. That Lucid is a beautiful car. Yeah. The Fisker just came out with, or finally has launched some of their Ocean products. Can't wait to check those out. I'm really interested in EVs and what folks are bringing to market. I know you did the video on the Lyric, and that car is stunning as well. That was a beautiful, beautiful
GM
car.
did a nice job on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now that you've owned an EV, do you think you'll ever go back, or do you think you'll stick with EVs going forward?
I think I'll always have a mix of EV and ICE engines because I do like the ability to just hop in and know I can find a gas station. I don't have a lot of trepidation about taking this on a road trip if I can get there within the range. I think with time, my comfort will come with going on longer trips. But I do like the ability to have that ICE. And I'm old school too. Like I said, I've got that 7-speed Z06 because I like to be in control and I like to feel that power. So I think I'll always have a mix of the two.
I totally get that. I still enjoy shifting through the gears on my Kawasaki Vulcan 900 Classic LT, even though I believe EVs are the future. And I think eventually you just might see an automaker release an EV manual like this Beetle EV conversion has, even though they're certainly not necessary. And that brings us back to the Hummer. With its infinity roof, crab walking capability, and in-your-face style, it shows EVs are moving beyond the early adopters and are poised to go after the heart of the market. Thanks for watching EV Rider, and we'll see you again soon.